Pete, are you still coming to us from Mom's basement in the quarantine?
Live from Mom's basement.
How is that?
I love it. I love having my family here. I feel very lucky.
Yeah. So guys, the first thing I want to ask you, of course, I've seen Trainwreck, such a great movie. Is it true that Amy Schumer is responsible for the origin of this partnership?
She is. You know, we were casting Trainwreck and sitting around one day with our YouTube open. And I said, who should I know that's funny that I don't know? And the first person she said was Pete. And then we went on YouTube and watched one of his sets, and he was crazy funny. And crazy funny at 20 years old. I started doing stand-up when I was around that age, and I was not funny at all. None of us were as funny as he was at that age. And then he did a cameo in Trainwreck, and the next day he called Pete, and he said, I just called Lorne Michaels and said, you should be in the cast of Saturday Night Live. And then he auditioned and got it. So it's all, Amy should be commissioned.
And Pete, here you are. We're doing a junket for this movie that you have played such a huge part in on so many levels. I love that you're still in Mom's basement. I love that you have a Swiffer behind you. You're keeping it clean down there.
Yeah, we're keeping it clean. My mom likes to keep it very nice and clean down here.
Don't worry, Mom. I know your daughter got smart and went to college and abandoned us. But I'm still here. I'm going to be here forever.
Yeah.
I saw that you said this movie was a love letter to your mom, and that was so beautiful to me. I'm wondering if she's seen it, what she thinks of it, and if you feel you achieved that.
Yeah, my mom's seen it. It's a love letter to pretty much my whole family, my mom's sister and my dad. And she saw it at the screening, and she really loved it, and it really meant a lot to me. And I think we made her proud.
Oh, I love, you guys have Judd, your daughter, in the movie, Pete, your grandpa. How much fun was it having all those family and friends on set? And did Grandpa learn his lines well? Was he a good cast member?
Grandpa killed it. He loved it. He is a big fan of movies, and he's the guy who got me into movies. We used to make a lot of films at home. So, just to be able to put him into something, really, really was awesome.
Judd, how was it directing your daughter again?
It was really fun. I hadn't directed Maude since This Is 40, which was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the past, when we made movies, she was so little that I wasn't really directing her. I was just manipulating her and tricking her and forcing her to fight with Paul and Leslie or fight with her sister. And this was really fun because she's been working on Euphoria and that Ryan Murphy show, Hollywood. And she came in as a real master of her craft. She was really funny, and it was great watching her yell at Pete.
Pete, did you have any nerves in those scenes, or did you just say, come at me, yell at me as much as you want, Maude?
Maude's such a great actress. She just really brought it, and we really had, I think, a great relationship on screen and off screen. So I think she really crushed it.
Pete, I also saw you said that you hoped this movie would be healing. And I got to tell you, I lost my dad when I was younger too. So I was really watching this in a very personal way and wondering really for you how healing it was for you ultimately.
I think having to, deal with that sort of thing at such a great scale really helped me heal. It really made me think that I could put this behind me now because, we went through it all together. So I really feel a lot better, and I hope some other people could also relate to that.
I like your tattoos. What are those numbers on your arm?
Oh, that's the date my dad died. He was a fireman. Died in a fire 17 years ago.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Don't be, it's fine.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not your dad.
And I think, Judd, you said you thought people might understand Pete better watching this movie. Pete, do you feel that, or do you want that to happen?
Yes, I feel like I don't know, I kind of feel a little bit misunderstood, and I feel like, it's a really tricky situation, but I think what Judd and I and Dave Cyrus did, I think hopefully it'll, get that point across better.
I think I was really struck watching it because it really drove home to me, there's grief and there's things we deal with, and then there's also mental health and kind of how those things are separate but intertwined and how much that can be to deal with. So what did you want to maybe say to people, or what advice would you have for people who you feel like take something away from this movie? What do you want them to maybe take away from it so they can feel stronger too?
Just that, if you're struggling, you're not the only one. And, a lot of people struggle. And I think, watching Scott go through this and find a way to heal, through a tragedy is, important. And we don't see enough of that. So I think we did a good job of that.
Yeah. What do you do, having grown, having healed from a lot of what you've dealt with? What do you do now if you do start to feel a little lost or feel in a dark place? What kind of help grounds you?
I'm in therapy, lots of therapy. Yeah. My therapists are really on the ball, and I'm very lucky to have them in my lives. And, I recommend that everybody go to therapy.
I think it helps for people to have that discussion now, especially. I don't know if our world's ever been quite so volatile and coming off of 3 months cooped up. So,
yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. I don't know how this has affected both of you. How are you both with the state of our world and being in a basement and in a home right now?
I think that we're hanging in there. It's definitely, a very complicated time. And, we're hopeful that some real change happens as a result of all this, because that's the most important thing, that things do change.
Yeah. Pete, I wondered, there's a line in here, I know this is semi-autobiographical. Someone tells you, I feel bad that you don't think you're great. Have either of you ever had a girlfriend really say that to you? Was that line from real life?
Well, I've had bad ones. I had a girl say to me once, while breaking up with me, one day you're going to realize how little you know right now. You know what?
Savage.
I still don't know what she's talking about.
Pete, what about you?
I think I've had, I've been fortunate enough to have some great relationships, and, honesty is always really important. And I actually did have a girl say that to me. Yeah.
Did you feel it? Did you believe it?
I still don't understand what she's talking about.
I've been dating someone for a little while now.
The first guy you date in 17 years is a fireman, just like that? You don't think that's weird?
Pete, by the way, I wanted to ask you, you kind of flip out when Mom dates somebody new in this movie. Was that from real life? Have you allowed for Mom to date new people, or are you very protective?
I've never seen my mom date before. That was something we, wrote for the movie, but I always encourage her to date, but she's so particular about me and my sister and taking care of us that we made this movie as a way to be like, it would be okay if you got yourself out there and made yourself happy.
Oh, so this isn't just a love letter. This is saying, Mom, find some love.
Yeah, get out there.
Pete, I wondered what do you think your dad would think about the fact that you're sitting here talking about your movie that you made?
I think he would get a kick out of it. I think he'd be really proud, and he would wonder why he wasn't in the movie.
Mrs. Davidson, before Pete says anything, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry because I've only known him a week, but I can only imagine.
Thanks, Reese Witherspoon.
Last questions for you. You're in a movie now. You're a main character in a movie. So I gotta ask, how much longer do you see yourself at SNL? Does this signal a jump into mostly filmmaking for you?
I will be there as long as they allow me to be. I think I'm very lucky to be on that show, and I'm really lucky to have Lorne Michaels as, not only a mentor and a boss, but a friend. And I'll be there as long as they allow it.
Have you screened this for any of them? Gotten their feedback on it?
I haven't heard back yet from anybody yet, but I think we send out the screeners this week. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And Judd, I wanted to ask you, we touched on this, but you're somebody who always voices his opinion and speaks up for people. If people do have a hard time knowing what to do in this moment that we're having, what do you say to them about how to enter the conversation or listen? What's your advice?
Well, certainly you should get educated. I was stressed this morning. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I just read and watched videos for several hours. And I think there's a lot of things that people could learn a lot more about. And then I would get educated about voting. Everyone needs to register to vote. Young people vote at the rate of about 46%. And people have a lot of power if they register and get voted. and get voted.
I love that. Well, I'm glad you're keeping the basement just spiffy clean down there. It looks great. And thank you both. This movie was really, really wonderful. I really appreciated it. It made me laugh and cry and all the things. So thank you both, guys. Great work.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.